Hi everyone, so somebody left me a comment on one of my videos on YouTube saying that they've seen that I use a V5 embroidery machine, but my machine's blue, and that they've been looking around the UK and the only ones that they've seen are white. My machine is a V5LE, which I do say in my videos when I'm using it, and the LE is limited edition, so I think that's why mine is blue. This machine has been out for a few years now. I've had mine since the pandemic, so 2020, so probably 3 years old now. I had a Janome Memory Craft before, which was a brilliant sewing and embroidery machine. But I wanted the Brother because it works with my scan and cut. So I sold my Janome and I bought this. So I'm just going to give you a kind of an overview of it today. It's not a review. I do love the machine, but this is literally just as the result of a request left in a comment on my YouTube channel asking if I would show it in more detail. So that's what I'm going to do. So it comes with this semi-hard, I would say, plastic dust cover. The dust cover has pockets on either end, and it has a big pocket on the back, which I keep the plastic grid pieces that you use for lining up on your hoops. But to be fair, I never use them. So this is the back of the dust cover, just fastens with Velcro. And as you can see, I've got the two plastic grids in here that are for my hoops. This machine of mine uses an 8x12, or I should say, this machine of mine came as standard with an 8x12 hoop and a 4x4 hoop. And these are the little plastic grids that you can use with your hoops to help lining up for your centres, like horizontal and vertically. But as I say, I tend not to use them, so they're just kept in there. So this is my machine, and as the person said, it is blue and white. I think the regular V5 machine that's available in the UK is all white, like the V3. So the V5 is a combined sewing and embroidery machine. The V3, I think, is the same machine as the V5, but it's embroidery only. I wanted a combined one. I wanted one that I didn't have to store two separate machines. So the V5LE, which is the one I have, is the same machine as the V5, but I think mine's got maybe some extras, but I'm not sure because I'm not an expert. But the way that you identify the differences, my V5LE, as it says here, is blue and white. I think the regular V5 is just all white. So it has a big touch screen. As I said, it's combined sewing and embroidery. I have the embroidery unit on, and I leave that on even if I'm sewing. It does also come with the sewing arm. So when you take the embroidery unit off, which is this section here, you can slide this on and the machine becomes smaller in length. Has a very big throat area, so if you're a quilter, you've got a lot more room in there. The actual embroidery box, when you slide it open, opens from the front on the back, so you've got extra storage space in the back. I tend to never use this back compartment. But inside here, you've got the lift out tray that houses all the feet that came with the machine. The only foot that's in here that didn't come with my machine is this Teflon foot that I bought several months ago off the internet, and I've not tried it yet. So it's just sat in there waiting. And then when you lift it out, I've got my free motion quilt foot, and I've got my regular basic embroidery foot. And then there's, you know, a little cleaning brush and other bits and pieces that come with the machine. Some spare spool caps in here. So I tend to just keep this off the machine but nearby, so that if I am switching between the sewing foot and the embroidery foot, which I've just shown you, this box is always handy. And to convert this machine from a basic sewing machine to an embroidery machine is literally as simple as getting the little screwdriver that comes with the machine, undoing this foot, clipping it off and putting the W foot, which is the embroidery foot, on. That's all you need to do. So it's just like if you were sewing and you were changing between, you know, a zipper foot and a regular sewing foot. I've got the zipper foot on at the moment. So that's everything that comes in the accessory box. As I say, I tend to leave the embroidery arm on all the time, because you can just regular sew with this arm on, as well as obviously doing your embroidery. So it has a USB port on the side. It has a little outlet here if you want to use the presser foot. The presser foot that came with this machine is a nice wide presser foot. I've not got it handy, but I would say it's probably maybe 8 or 9 inches wide. So it's a lot bigger than a regular presser foot. You know, it's a lot bigger than the presser foot that comes with my overlocker. But I've never used it. I use the on and off and start and stop and speed buttons that are all on the front of my machine, which I'll show you in more detail in a few minutes. It has a connection on the side here that came with a cable. So if you want to plug the cable in, and then the other end is a USB, which you can plug into a Windows computer, and you can transfer designs from the machine to your computer. Now I use a Mac, so again, that's a cable I've never used. It's still in its original wrapping. As I said, it has USB port on the side. I just have a USB extender plugged into it. So basically I never now need to touch that at all. And when I'm using a USB stick, all I have to do is just plug that into the extender. It kind of saves a bit of wear and tear on the USB port itself. And as I say, this is just something I leave plugged in all the time. Then it's got the power cable, and that's it really. So let me try and give you a bit more of a view of the machine. So all the buttons on the front, you've got the automatic needle threader button. This is your speed for going, you know, quick or fast. This button is to lift the presser foot up. This button with the scissors on cuts your thread for you. This is your needle up, needle down button. This is your end stop stitch. I'll show you it on the machine in a minute, but you can have the machine set to where it goes forwards and backwards and forwards at the start and end of a line of stitching, or you can have it where it just does, you know, a stitch in one place. That's your reverse button, and that's the start stop button. So if I just turn the machine on, so it always comes up with this message that says the carriage of the embroidery unit will move, keep your hands away from the carriage. So I just say okay. And as you'll see now, that's just going to kind of dock itself into place. And again, depending on whether you choose sewing or embroidery, that will move again. But because this is a combined sewing and embroidery machine, it says sewing, embroidery and embroidery edit. If you've got the V3 model, which is just purely and simply embroidery, you'll probably have the same screen, but you won't have that. You'll have embroidery and embroidery edit. So if I just go quickly into sewing, again, it's going to tell me that the carriage is going to move, so it's moving out of the way. It's docking at the far end of the embroidery arm. This brings up all your sections of stitches, if you like. So there are 3 pages, as you can see here, it says 1 of 3. If I click the down arrow, 2 of 3 brings up more, and 3 of 3 brings up more. If I go back to the first page, and again, you've got sections here. So you've got like utility stitches, it tells you up here. Then if I click on this section I've got more utility stitches, I've got buttonhole stitches. This machine can sew diagonally as well as up and down. It can go from side to side, it can go from corner to corner. So you've got all the features in there. And then you've got like your quilting stitches. So these are like quick ways of getting to certain stitches, if you like. I tend to use stitch number 1-03. This is basically, you know, your needle in the middle position. I'm not going to go through all the pages and pages of stitches, as I say, but what I do tend to use are these buttons here. So if you press them and they're not lit up, they look like this, they're not selected. So when I start to sew, if I'm using, you know, a basic straight stitch, I will select this button, which is to make the foot on the machine go up. I will select this one, which makes the stitch do a backwards and forwards at the beginning and end. And I will press the scissors button, which means it will cut the thread when I stop sewing. So I use those features a lot. You've got other icons along here. So you've got your icon for your free motion foot. You can mirror designs. This is single needle or twin needle, so you'll choose that, you know, depending on what you want to use. This is the pocket where you store things in the memory. This zooms in to show you what stitch you've chosen. And then along here at the bottom, you've got your tension, which I never touch. And then you've got things like stitch width and left, and you know, you can use these buttons to move your needle as well if you want to. So as I say, it's not a review, I'm just giving you a quick overview of the machine. So the J foot is the standard foot that I tend to use the most. And again, when you choose a stitch, it will tell you what foot you need to use. So I'm just going to pop that on and press the presser foot, and that will clip the foot into place. I've got black thread in the machine. I'm not going to change it, you know, for the video, but I will just show you how some of the functions work. So like I said, I've got these all selected. So with those all selected, if I put the foot down using this button here, the light turns green, and when I press go, the machine will start to sew forward, then it's going to go backwards, then it's going to come along, and then if I press the return button, it will go backwards again and come forwards, cut the thread and lift the foot for me. And that's all because I've got these settings selected here. So like I say, if I want to then turn this into an embroidery machine, all I need to do is open the bobbin case, take my sewing bobbin out, put a bobbin in that I've wound with bobbin fill into here and close that back up, switch out the foot to the embroidery foot, and then I can hoop up some stabilizer, put that into the machine, and I'm ready to go. So just a quick view of the top. When you open the machine lid, you've got a bar here where you can have your thread. There's a spare bar. I only tend to use this for when I'm winding a bobbin, so I'll put the thread on here, I'll put my bobbin on here, lock this across, and then the machine automatically jumps into bobbin winding mode, and I have it on fast. But if you want to wind your bobbin slower, you can use this to take the speed down, but I just leave it on full. And then all you need to do is press start, and away it will go, and it will click off and stop here automatically when it's full, or you can use that start stop button. and that's it. It's just, you know, you thread it the same as you would any other machine. It's really easy. You put your thread around here, it comes round here, it goes down, up, down, hooks into this piece here, and then once you've hooked it into there, you stretch it across here through this number 7, and then you bring it round and you cut it on the side and you leave it cut in there, and then you just press the needle threader and it comes down and threads it automatically. So that's my V5LE combined sewing and embroidery machine. So I hope that was helpful. If you do want to see anything in particular, leave a comment under this video and I'll see if I can, you know, do something more specific. If you want any further information, again, leave a comment. But I'm in the UK and this machine was bought in the UK. I think possibly the equivalent of it in maybe the US is I think it's called the 5200. It might be the Essence 5200 or the Innovis 5200, I'm not sure. I don't know for sure, I've just seen videos of that machine used by people in the US and it looks identical to my machine. But here in the UK, as I say, you've got the V5, which is this machine but all in white, and it's a combined embroidery and sewing machine. I don't know, I think mine maybe has a few more extra functions. So mine is the V5LE, which is classed as the limited edition, and that's why it's blue and white. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. As I say, this is just in reply to a comment that was left on one of my previous videos. So I just thought I would try and explain why mine's blue and white compared to the white one that the lady had been seeing in the UK. So I'll try and just give you a quick panned view of it. This is how it looks. I'll hit the home button. So this is the screen that you see when you switch it on, and as I say, this is how it looks with the embroidery arm on it. So I hope that was helpful. Please give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.